I just want to shout out to designers everywhere. I just love great design. One of the great things you can do for your startup, and one of the 13 reasons we have to invest in a startup, we have this like secret playbook that you're now privy to. One of the 13 qualities we look for is world-class design. World-class design, you know, when I first told everybody, look for world-class design, they kept checking off this box. My researchers, my analysts who were looking at the incoming pitches for startups for us to invest in. And I said, that's not world-class design. So they said, please tell us how to define world-class design. I said, well, you know it when you see it. It still wasn't enough, right?
Right.
So I have to like take what's in my brain and put it into a team of 11 investment team members. So I said, if Apple would feature that app at a keynote and Steve Jobs would tweet it or Steve Jobs would introduce the person, that's world-class design, right? So Calm.com was app of the year. Other apps get featured. Apple doesn't feature it unless it's great. And I saw this guy, Mark Hemion, who you know.
LA tech guy.
LA tech guy. And he did this great thing where he took the Airbnb icons but made them in Dieter Rams style, who is the German industrial designer.
Sure. Yeah, I got it.
And let's just show this on the screen here. These are all the Airbnb designs. We didn't cover it, but last week Airbnb took a second swing at experiences. So when you're at an Airbnb, you're in your city, they want to kind of be the everything app. So we now have multiple people going after the everything app, and they just took some icons and put it here. If you don't know that style, look at this because they're doing something, I guess, called detailed 3D isometric icons.
Yeah, I pulled up. Look at this prompt that he used to generate these. It's huge.
A highly detailed 3D isometric icon of a insert object inspired by Dieter Rams' Braun design style, Airbnb 2024 icon language, miniature diorama, emoji-like objects with crisp edges, realistic textures, and soft handcrafted realism material, a mix of matte plastic, brushed aluminum, ceramic, or leather, depending on the original object, view, three-quarter front left isometric view with a slight top-down angle, lighting, soft neutral studio lighting from the top left with double shadows. Still going. And I've just read you the first half.
Now, what I think is so fascinating, I used to play around a lot in the early days of generative AI when it was first becoming viral. Stable Diffusion was like the first app I played around with. And people used to use all of these very subjective terms in their prompts. They'd be like cinema quality, high definition, beautiful angles, picturesque imagery. And I think what we've learned over the years of working on prompts and what people have gotten so much more sophisticated at, it doesn't need any of the flowery language. A computer doesn't know what to do with that. But the more details like this that you can add, specific, actual physical details, like brushed aluminum, front left isometric view with a slight top-down angle. Like, if you give the computer specifics, it knows exactly what you want.
And there was going to be a job of prompt engineer, but because of these deep thinking, deep research type language models now, you don't need to do that as the claim. But if you do know how to do it, I think you can get really great results. So somewhere between the two, the truth lies. I think prompts do still matter. And asking the LLM, how would you do this prompt might be helpful. Important for people to know, back to design. Design matters. Steve Jobs was obsessed with design. If you do world-class design like this that you're seeing here, you will get 30% more investor meetings. 30%.
Yeah.
And I think you'll get taken 100% more seriously by your customers. And the point here is immature artists copy, mature artists steal. You can just, with your startup and your design, be inspired by designs that happened before you, adapt them, and get all that credit and build on the legacy of other designers. I think it's fair game. If you're upfront about it and you give a little bit of credit and a nod. You don't want to just steal for stealing's sake. And I find design is very intimidating for people. Here's what you do with design. You just say, who are the designers who inspired X, Y, and Z? So find some things you like in the world. Say which designers were which designers are related to these designs I like. Ask an LLM, and then go find some books. Buy a couple of books. Put them on your shelf. And when you're, not in front of your computer or your device, just take them in and then think about your startup and how you're designing your product to make it better, your logo, your website, how your interface works. This is one of the things that made Superhuman do so well. Superhuman has a very constrained, awesome design, and that made that startup really appeal to investors, employees, and of course, customers most of all.